Story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Welcome to CoreTV News at 7 with me, Sabina Izoku. President Goodluck Jonathan has described former head of state Yakubu Gowon as an icon of Nigerian history. He said this in a congratulatory letter to Gowon on the occasion of his 80th birthday. Jonathan said that the nation will always owe the former head of state a huge debt of gratitude for successfully managing and guiding Nigeria through a civil war that made the country more united. The president wished General Yakubu Gowon good health and a very happy 80th birthday celebration. And away from that, after a month-long negotiation facilitated by Chad, Nigeria has agreed a ceasefire with Boko Haram. The deal, according to the Nigerian authorities, would also ensure the release of all 219 schoolgirls abducted more than 6 months ago by the insurgents. Coordinator of the National Information Center, Michael Mary, disclosed this at a news conference in Abuja.
Indicated their desire and willingness for peace and to discuss and resolve all associated issues. They also assured that the schoolgirls and all other people in their captivity are alive and well. Already, the terrorists have announced a ceasefire in furtherance of their desire for peace. In this regard, the government of Nigeria has, in similar vein, declared a ceasefire. Finally, this is to assure Nigerians that the greater goal of this process is to ensure the return of normalcy in the land, especially in parts of the country troubled by activities of terrorists. President Jonathan's commitment to peace and security in Nigeria and indeed in all parts of the world has been the driving force of all engagements and measures taken this far on the war against terror since it began in our country.
Nigerian military authorities have directed troops to comply with the ceasefire deal with the insurgent group. Chief of Defense Staff Alex Bade says he has already passed on the order to service chiefs. Bade, who made this known at the end of a 3-day coordinated conference of the Nigerian-Cameroon Trans-Border Military Operations, revealed that the deal was cut in Saudi Arabia.
My very good friend from Cameroon and all your members of your delegation. Look, you can interpret.
Okay. Mon cher ami du Cameroun et ses délégations.
I once again want to thank you on behalf of Armed Forces of Nigeria.
Je vais vous remercier au nom d'état-major du Nigeria
for accepting to come over to Abuja to come and discuss this all important matter.
Pour avoir accepté de venir à Abuja pour discuter cet sujet vraiment important.
But without any prejudice to the outcome of our 3 days interaction,
mais sans considérer ce qu'on avait déjà discuté dans 3 jours.
And the conclusion of this forum,
et en conclusion,
I wish to inform this audience,
je vais informer tout le monde
that a ceasefire agreement has been concluded between the federal government of Nigeria and Al-Sunnah Lidawa wal Jihad.
Qu'ils ont déjà signé un cessez-le-feu entre l'armée du Nigeria et je ne sais pas le nom, et le Boko Haram.
I have accordingly directed
et j'ai déjà instruit
the service chiefs to ensure immediate compliance with this development in the field.
Le chef de service de respecter ce qui est déjà signé.
There is, however, still no word from the Boko Haram through their usual source on the ceasefire claims. Elder statesman Edwin Clark is convinced that the country can overcome its security challenges if all Nigerians shun partisanship. He also warned against playing politics with potentially divisive issues. Clark gave the advice while receiving the pro-Jonathan support group, the Dynamic Women International, who paid him a courtesy visit in Abuja.
As a country, for the past 100 years, and we have been governing ourselves for the past 54 years. Therefore, we are brothers and sisters. The problem of one section of this country is the problem of the whole country, isn't it? Yes. Therefore, what is happening today in Northeast is the problem of Nigeria, not only the problem of Northeastern people. So people should not play politics with it. Nigeria first before your politics.
That's right.
Without Nigeria, you cannot be a politician.
Oh, yes.
You cannot go to Ghana to be a politician.
That's right.
Always have regard for your country. Be loyal to your country. Be faithful to your country. I believe that this country called Nigeria is very well blessed. Let us not run it down.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has insisted that Democratic primaries in the All Progressive Congress is the best form of consensus for the party. He said this in response to calls on the social network Twitter for the presidential aspirants in the party to agree on a consensus candidate. According to his Twitter post, calling for a consensus is not necessary because APC is committed to holding free and fair primaries. He added that there is no better consensus than that agreed by delegates who will eventually mobilize the electorate for votes at the next year's elections. Nigeria's main opposition party, the All Progressive Congress, plans to amend its constitution before its convention slated for December. To this end, it has slated an extraordinary convention for October 29th, where the proposed amendments will be tabled for ratification. National Publicity Secretary of the party, Lai Mohammed, disclosed this at a press briefing on the outcomes of the IEPC's National Executive Council meeting on Friday. He also insisted that the timetable for the already published guidelines for primaries had not changed. Reacted to reports that the APC members were the main campaigners in the Bring Back Our Girls campaign. The party spokesman said the party executive was not aware of that. He argued that members of the group were free to be sympathetic to the cause, but maintained that the IEPC is not back-rolling the protest movement to discredit the Jonathan's administration. The pathway to 2015 is gradually opening up with the emergence of the presidential hopefuls, especially in the camp of the nation's leading opposition party, APC, so far. The former head of the state, Muhammadu Buhari, and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar have picked off their presidential intents on the platform of the APC. But what kind of president do Nigerians really want? Olajumoke Olatunji puts two lawyers and a varsity teacher to tax on the development and returned with this report. Have a listen to her.
At 54, an average woman is a grandmother who has seen it all and is at a vantage position to nurture younger women. Comparatively, many scholars have said that Nigeria is a toddler at 54. The country, arguably for this set of people, is yet to become a nation. Ethnic conflicts and civil unrest characterized by loss of precious lives still hallmark the polity. In spite of huge human and natural resources, Nigeria is still plagued by different challenges. By May 29 next year, Nigerians would have shot themselves on the foot if the person they're swearing as president did not have answers to these challenges and more.
A president that is angry, sufficiently angry. And I hope people will understand me. Such a person must be so thoroughly embarrassed, so completely overwhelmed by the degree of decadence and the failing prospects of or chance of salvaging this society, this country. He must be apprehensive that if nothing is done, we'll be pushed off the cliffs because we're already at the precipice.
Currently, the names of 11 Nigerians have been mentioned in connection with the 2015 presidential election, built for February 14, 2015. Those said to be interested in being the chief occupants of Aso Rock include President Goodluck Jonathan of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, Sam Ndazaya, Adams Oshiomhole, Musa Kokenso, Rochas Okorocha, Abdul-Jalil Tafawa Balewa, Aminu Tambuwa, and Sam Wanti of the Mega Progressives People's Party.
We need a president who will be prepared to rock the boat. Unless they rock the boat in Nigeria, Nigeria may continue to wallow in this endless pit of indolence. This is a country with a huge capacity, I mean, to be a giant in Africa, like it was once referred to in the past. But because of this kind of lackluster, lukewarm, uninspiring leadership that we have had over the years, I'm not specific about Jonathan alone. I'm talking about Nigeria's leadership.
The kind of president that we all need in 2015 is that man that can offer responsible and constructive leadership. A man or woman that has the courage of his own convictions, who is willing, ready, and able to tackle the monster of corruption.
Of the lot, Buhari, Atiku, Oshiomhole, Ndazaya, Tafawa Balewa, and Wanti have declared their intentions to run. President Jonathan has been adopted by the PDP as its sole presidential candidate, a move that Tafawa Balewa has vowed to overturn at the party's presidential primaries. The likes of Kwankwaso, Okorocha, Tambuwa are yet to make their intentions known and are said to be neck-deep in consultations, while Saraki has opted out of the race. Just moments to the general elections, the political arena is heated up and Nigerians seem ready to go to the polls once again to demonstrate their constitutional rights. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Not so far away from the 2015 general elections, where Women Arise, a non-governmental organization, has urged Nigerians to exercise their rights and to vote wisely and choose candidates that will represent their interests in the best possible way. Sheyi Adegoke was at the Group Symposium in the Ikorodu area of Lagos. Her report is presented from our studio.
The symposium was tagged 2015 Elections, Options for Survivor. Leader of the Women Arise organization, Joe Udumake, speaks on the importance of conducting a free and fair elections in 2015.
2015 election will make or mar Nigeria. And the reason for this lecture and this sensitization, this epoch-making event, is for all of us to get involved in the process in having free, fair, and credible elections.
Nollywood actor Jide Kosoko says Nigerians must think about securing their future.
The politicians we have in this country today, in fact, they are too desperate. Too desperate that you now continue to look at it from why they really want to come on board. Is it to serve or to make money for themselves? If truly you are offering yourself for service, then must it be a do or die thing? So we are no fools.
They have given you the power. They said, one man, when you vote, you count there. They have told you, go and elect your leaders from legacy.
Chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, Ikorodu branch, Dr. Olatunji, tasked Nigerians on the need to protect their vote after casting their ballot.
I know when this thing will not impact on those of us in this world today. And when we go out of this world, what are we expected to do? Are we expected to keep this to ourselves? Or to disseminate information to other people that are not here?
The organizers admonished Nigerians not to sell their votes to desperate politicians who are out to take advantage of their often weak positions.
We'll take a short break, and when we return, CoreTV News at 7 continues. Stay with us.
Glad to have you join us on another edition of The Political Arena, the most detailed and incisive political show.
If you are a sitting governor and the opposition is able to stomach structure against you, that means you are wicked to the people.
They gave me 20 minutes to move or they will shoot me.
He has no chance for survival. If he likes himself, this is the best time to get out before he perishes.
The PDP as a ruling party has failed.
So anybody who thinks that government will fold his hands and allow miscreants to take over the streets of our own state and cause havoc is deceiving himself.
The good, bad, ugly and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on CoreTV News.
Welcome back to the news. For more information, you can reach us on our social media platform, facebook.com/CoreTV News, and on Twitter at CoreTV News NG, on our YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, and then news. Immunity clause enjoyed by top Nigerian political leaders, especially the president, his vice, state governors, and their deputies, has again come under scrutiny. Speaking against the backdrop of rising corruption on the part of public office holders, two chieftains of the Yoruba Unity Forum, Anthony Adefuye and Olawale Okuniyi, advocate for total removal of the immunity clause. They also agree that easing the clause out of the Nigerian constitution will gradually pave way for the corruption-free society.
Our major problems in Nigeria today is corruption, and we need to do something urgently to arrest this corruption. And this corruption is from the top. It's from the top. There is no doubt about it. The immunity clause was protecting corruption, and therefore we decided at the conference to remove this immunity clause. At least people will now have the fear of God and the fear of man when they are doing anything, either in the State House or in Aso Rock, before they do it, because they know that the people are now very, very aware and could take them to court.
If you have a political culture that is developed, you could say remove it. But however, I'm not neither here nor there on this matter. What's essential for me is restructuring Nigeria first. The moment you are able to restructure it for the people to own their country through a people's constitution, all those will not matter. But I think again that we must begin to query some of the pillars sustaining corruption, and that is immunity.
They spoke on the sidelines of the recent general meeting of the Yoruba Unity Forum in Ikenne, Ogun State. An Ikeja High Court in Lagos on Friday upheld the ban on wearing of Muslim headscarves, otherwise called hijab, in public primary and secondary schools in the state. Justice Modupe Oyinbo dismissed the suit instituted against the Lagos state government by two 12-year-old girls under the ages of the Muslim students of Nigerian Lagos State Area Unit. The state government had banned the use of hijab on the argument that it was not part of the approved school uniforms for pupils. Following the ban, the students filed a suit on May 27, 2013, seeking redress and asking the court to declare the ban as a violation of their rights to freedom of thought, religion, and education. In her judgment, Oyinbo held that a prohibition of the wearing of hijab over school uniforms within and outside the premises of public schools was not discriminatory. According to her, the ban does not violate Section 38 and 42 of the 1999 Constitution as claimed by the plaintiffs. The judge said Section 10 of the Constitution made Nigeria a secular state and that government must maintain neutrality at all times. Reacting to the judgment, the plaintiff counsel, Gani Adetola Kazim, says his clients would file an appeal against the judgment. And turning attention to Adamawa State, where the governor, Balaji Zingilari, has urged the batch D2 teachers who were illegally employed in 2010 by the Post-Primary Schools Management Board to be patient and wait for vacancies before being reabsorbed into the civil service. Explaining the circumstances surrounding the employment, the Director of Press and Public Affairs at Adamawa State, Phineas Elisha, says the affected teachers numbering over 2,000 will be considered for employment soon.
The decision of the government is that subject to availability of other gainful employment vacancies in the government service, they could be absorbed at a later date. So the whole essence of this is to inform the public and those teachers to understand the fact that despite the fact that they were, the entire number of 9494 was illegally, given, but because of master-servant vicarious liability, they were looking on to him as an executive secretary and as official of the government, so they would have believed that he was in a position to employ them.
He says the governor is aware of their flight, calling on them to be patient.
Ask these particular unemployed teachers to exercise patience, because we cannot mortgage the education of these peoples to just government bureaucracy and say, I was given a letter. No. The future of these primary school pupils is very, very important. And there is no way we can get unqualified people to impact knowledge that is not supposed to be impacted, because they themselves are not trained. So how can they train somebody? So that's the position. So I want them to appreciate the position of the government on this particular matter.
Phineas also called on the people of Adamawa State to support efforts by the present government to move the state forward. And outside Nigeria, international pledges of deployment and aid for Africa's Ebola-hit regions have not yet had any impact on the epidemic, a major medical charity says. Christopher Stokes of Medecins Sans Frontieres, MSF, said the disease was still out of control. He said it was ridiculous that volunteers working for charity were bearing the brunt of care in the worst affected countries. The disease has killed about 4,500 people so far, mostly in West Africa. MSF runs about 700 out of 1,000 beds available in treatment facilities in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. Donors have given almost $400 million to UN agencies and aid organizations following an appeal launched in September for $988 million. Separately, the UN is seeking $1 billion for an Ebola trust fund to provide a flexible source of backup money to contain Ebola. But the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon on Thursday made another urgent appeal, saying the trust fund had received only $100,000 from Colombia, though $20 million has been pledged. And that wraps it up at the news at 7. Please do join us on the primetime news at 9:45 p.m. I am Sabena Izoku, and from me and the news group, we say many thanks.